No need to hang up on him.
Yeah, I really want Felicia to be able to share what she's... Okay. I won't tell that story again.
You're back, Felicia. We can see you.
Can you hear us?
No.
Hey, can you hear me?
Okay, yes.
Yeah.
Can you hear us?
We can hear you.
Hello.
No.
We can hear you.
Oh, good. You can hear me. Well, that's good news.
Yeah. You can't
I cannot hear you.
Well,
no, I cannot hear you, and I can see Tony's hand where it froze. Jeremiah mid-sentence. All right, so I'll tell everyone about me, and Tony, you can type if you need to. All right, so about me, gosh, I am a professional speaker. I am an author. I've written several books that I've been blessed to hit #1 on Amazon when we launched them, which was so cool.
Wow.
21 Ways to Make Money Speaking was the first one. The second one is Kill the Elevator Speech, Stop Selling, Start Connecting with People. And I'm all about creating effective connections. In fact, I have a weekly blab show that I do about creating connections. And right now my brain is like on overload because anybody who's ever done a launch, you know what it's like. So tomorrow we're starting a class that we've been launching for the last week or so about telling story and using video to do that. And it's a 30-day storytelling on video challenge. So I've got that in my head right now. But telling your story, like when I lost Jeremiah, Jeremiah was telling what we call your origin story, the origin of your organization. And in my Kill the Elevator Speech book, that's one of the things that I talk about is when you don't need an elevator speech when you go to a networking meeting, when you go to an event, a lot of people who are marketers and they use the internet. Well, they're like, well, I don't do networking. Well, have you ever been to an event? Did you go to Traffic and Conversion? Are you going to, are you going to Mayhem? Are you going to Infusion, Icon? I'm going there this week. Are you going to NAMS? Are you going to JV Alert, which is now Impact, whatever? Like what, are you going to an event? Well, guess what? People are going to ask you what you do. Even some of the most famous marketers, there will be people there who don't know you. Yeah. And that's just the nature of the world. There's people who don't know us, right? Yeah. So instead of saying, what do you do? Don't ask that question. Ask, how did you get started doing what you do? That's asking someone to share their origin story. And it's very likely that story is not going to be a rehearsed marketing verbal vomit diatribe of buy my stuff, couched in a bunch of words that somebody's like, what? Now, wait, what do you do? Right? You don't want to confuse people. You want to give them an idea of what you do. And when you're talking to them, you can share your origin story. So when somebody says, what do you do? Give them, people only remember, by the way, 2 to 4 words of what you're sharing. So in your 2 to 4 words, tell them what you do. Are you a business coach? Great, say that. Are you a marketing consultant? Great, say that. Are you a graphic designer? Cool. You don't have to come up with some fancy schmanz, long, something that sounds really creative. Nobody's ever heard of this. Because guess what? They're going to forget what you do because they have no idea where to stick you in their brain. Right? Yeah. So give them the 2 to 4 words that are easily recognizable, that they know where to put you in their brain, and then tell them your story. Tell them how did you get started? Why did you get started? Where did it come from? Have you always done what you're doing? Or if you don't feel like telling that story, then tell the story of one of your favorite clients or somebody that you enjoy, somebody that you've enjoyed working with, or somebody that you've partnered with, or, just tell some kind of a story, because what happens in the moment when you're sharing a story with someone else, and by the way, when they're sharing a story with you, is neurons in our brains are firing when we're hearing a story and emotions are kicking around. Like every time that Jeremiah, you talk about your cousin and the challenges that he's been through, and the fact that this is his 5th and final round of dealing with brain tumors because he's on hospice. That's an emotional story, and it creates a connection. And for me, it brings up emotion in me. I'm a cancer survivor myself. I survived non-smoking related lung cancer. So when I hear of someone not surviving cancer, it brings up a lot of emotion for me, as it will for any. I don't think there's anybody who hasn't had, hasn't been touched by someone in their lives who's had cancer, and so it brings up that emotion. Well, I now continue to associate emotion with you, and for me, it's a positive emotion, like, because I'm still alive and I still get to be the mommy to my kids, right? And I'm still get to be the wife to my husband. I still get to do the business that I love. So for me, that's a really positive emotion. So when you're meeting someone, you want to ask them what they do, because you ask them not what they do. You're going to ask them how they got started. And you ask them that because you're asking them to remember a happy time in their lives. When someone remembers a happy time in their lives, happy emotions get triggered through their body. And then if you've ever had the experience of meeting someone and walking away from that conversation and saying, I don't know what it was about that person, but I really liked them. Or the opposite, I don't know what it was about that person, but I really didn't like them at all. Have you ever had that experience? If you had, there are two things at play there, both around emotions. First is nonverbal communication. There were things that person was doing that you either subconsciously, unconsciously, they likely were not even aware, that you subconsciously, unconsciously were not even aware. Because if you're saying, I don't know what it was about that person, but I really liked them or I really didn't, you subconsciously were picking up their nonverbal cues. At the same time, the emotions that they were bringing up in you were not positive emotions if you find that you don't like them, or they were positive emotions. So when you ask someone to remember and tell a positive story, something that they really, really liked, some like a happy time in their lives. Usually when we start a business, it's like we're excited and we're really looking forward to doing this cool thing, right? So we're asking someone to remember a happy time, an excited time. Those emotions come flowing back, and guess what? Those emotions get associated with you. And when those emotions get associated with you, yay, really cool things happen. Can you tell I get excited about this? Because they're going to remember you more positively than anybody else in the room, because you made them feel good. Wow. That is the power of story, of you sharing your story and asking someone else to share their story. So there's my story. I wish I could see and hear you guys.
Can you hear us?
It's kind of a bummer. I could try to log back out and come back in again. Let me do that, okay? I'm going to log back out and come back in again. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to close this, and I'll be back in a minute. Bye.
Bye.
You can hear me?
I can hear you fine, brother. I'm just kidding flies. I got to fly in because it's, it is. No, 1:20 in the morning. Woo! How long are we going, Jeremiah? 5 hours, 20 minutes.
Yep. We are champions. As are our audience. Done a lot of good work today.
Here she comes.
I can hear me and see me. Can you?
We can hear and see you.
Oh my gosh, that's so exciting.
That was great.
So funny. You're reacting in text. I'm like, oh, good. They can still hear me. That's good.
Yep.
No, that was amazing. You didn't even breathe.
I know. Well, the thing
I'm
is,
excited.
It was so awesome because I noticed, like, at events, and I'm not sure a lot of people are aware of their own body language or what they're doing, but I've noticed talking to some people, and you're kind of like, this person's like right in there, like getting you with their straight. It's not a story. It's a, hey, I have something I want to tell you, and you didn't ask me if you wanted to hear it or not, but I'm going to tell you anyway type pitch.
Yeah.
And that's like where, I think if people took a little time to read body language and stuff, they would get a lot more positive results. Because they can tell, like, well, someone's kind of backing out of the space, or, looking away, or doing something like that. But when you genuinely connect with someone with a good story that they can relate to, because we've all been telling stories since we were, I think, on Earth.
Well, I liked getting rid of your elevator pitch, because I was involved in a government program there recently, and they're all about the 30-second elevator pitch, and it drives me insane. Because
you should have them call me. I'll fix them right up.
We'll get you over. Because what it is it's like
was that Irish?
Here as well. Like, and it's like, there's a 4-letter word that I normally use, and it's like, who gives a damn? I'll be like, who gives it? Like, really, we Jeremiah and myself were having a conversation the other day about this, about how many people come up and they actually introduce themselves as their business name. How many people, the first thing to do is tell you all about what they're going to do. Whereas every person on the planet loves talking about themselves. Let's be honest. So if you let the other person talk and you show interest in what they're saying, and you actually genuinely have an interest, then you start building a relationship, which is way more beneficial than it's just absolutely amazing. And the other thing is, like, people, especially when you talk about events, I noticed when I was speaking, it was fascinating. I sat in the crowd for one of them, right? And I was actually sitting there, and I had the microphone down around here, and I was chatting away to a couple. And then I went up on stage, and I came back off, and they come up to me and said, "I never knew you were one of them." And I said, like, what does not changed? And it's a perception people have you. And a lot of time going up and talking to people, if you treat them like human beings, normally you get on okay. You meet you do meet the nut jobs. Like, let's be honest about it. But like, normally people are very nice, and I like the idea of you're right. Everybody does have a story. Everybody does have a background and a reason and why they came out. And we even noticed that tonight throughout all the conversations we had. Everybody had a story, why they came on, why they did it. It's brilliant.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you ask that, it's an easy way to open the conversation. When people ask you what you do at an event type of situation, what they're actually saying is two things. Number one, I want to talk to you, but I'm not sure what else to say. And this is what people say in business. And number two, I forgot.
Awesome.
Well, that's what
number two is I want to tell you. Number two is I want to tell you about me.
Well, they're trying to decide: are you somebody that I can either work with or refer to somebody, or obviously they're all WIIFM, right? What's in it for me radio station. Yeah. So they're all thinking that. And so they're thinking like, all right, so how can this person hook me up with somebody? Can they introduce me to somebody? Whatever. And that's okay because we're, like when we tell them our story, a little bit about what we do, they're immediately starting to think maybe this is somebody that I could work with, or this is somebody who I know somebody or whatever. But now you've got a conversation started. I mean, that's how we met. We met at an event, all of us. And we continued the conversation later because Tony didn't gross me out enough. So it was good.
Yeah, well, you weren't there for the leprechaun joke, so it's pretty okay.
Yeah. See?
You've been there for the leprechaun joke. You never speak to me again.
Oh,
especially if you were the victim.
So, but no, it is even like I'd always be kind of, I suppose, reserved. I always find it. I try to explain to people with networking really like, it's like dating. You don't make it obvious your intention. Get to know the person is small, but because, it's not a straight kill of, I want to do business with this person or not, because like all of us would have war stories of people we've done business with that have been nightmares. And if we'd only taken a small bit more time to get to know the actual person, we'd have known what was coming.
Yeah.
Like I had a relationship with a guy for 10 years that cost me over $2 million when it all went wrong. So and even at that, you just never know. And it was kind of, it is interesting the way the world works, but getting to know someone, having a chat, and especially at and I think the events, like honestly, going to the events, I think is a very good idea. It's one of the disadvantages that I find being on this side of the water is it's much easier and accessible for you to pop over to the events and get their network. So we have to start creating some more events over here, I think. Yeah.
Well, and then the other side of that coin is you don't know who that person knows.
Yeah.
If you treat
3
that
degrees
person
of
like
separation.
Right. If you treat that person like a human being and like somebody of value, again, like Tony, what did you say? You meet crazies? Like if they're not a crazy, right? Like if there's just a normal, like they're a normal person, you don't want to
99% of people are normal, except for Jeremiah.
Right, with the helmet. Men. Although I've heard some things about men with helmets like that. I'm just saying. So Jeremiah. So it's nighttime. It's all right. So anyway, you don't know who that person knows. And if you treat someone with respect, you treat someone maybe it's not necessarily any kind of a fit at all for you and for them, but you connect with them. I'm like the opposite of, was it Matt who was on, who was saying he's never been on Twitter?
Yeah.
And he's not social. Like, I'm the opposite of that. If I meet you at an event, which you both know, if I meet you at an event and we have a conversation, I'm gonna continue to connect with you, and I'm gonna read some of your stuff that you have out there, and I'm gonna see, like, is this somebody that I can laugh with? Is this somebody who's got similar ideas to mine? Because I'm always looking for, I have my own blab show. I'm always looking for a guest. I'm always looking for somebody that I can refer people to. You got to keep your eyes open for stuff. And social media is a fantastic way to do that, because you can see, especially here in the U.S., where right now is election season, you could see if somebody is a hateful, mean person real fast.
Oh, yeah. But to be fair, you take politics way more serious than we do. We kind of think over this side of the world that, like, really all of them, we really, but, and it's funny because we're not Republican or Democrat. Like, we're very floaty, and the Europeans were very floaty. And I'd be reading some of the stuff, and I'm in hysterics laughing. Like, people really take this serious, and not to be disparaging to anyone's political beliefs, but, like, here, a person really in politics, and it's like the interesting thing for us looking in, because we would see a lot of it, especially with U.S. politics, is like the president can blow up the world, but a lot of times he can't get anything through Congress. So we find it fascinating to watch this. The most powerful man in the world, but he can't get something passed. But I can blow you up.
Country.
Yeah, I can blow you up. It is, and it is like people. It's fascinating to see the deep passion that people have with it. Because here we're a bit jaded, but we've had it longer than you had.
Yeah, that's true.
That's great.
It's true that
guys, listen, I'm looking.
Yeah,
go ahead. I was going to say, I'm looking at the time, and I have little people to tuck in and all that jazz.
Just wait for Matt to get on.
I need to. Who's coming next? Let him on. Get him on.
It's going to be me and Jeremiah for a bit, and then it's going to be Matt coming on. So.
All right, Maddie B.
So, Felicia, what do people need to do to reach out to you? Like, do you want them to? And if you want them to,
Miss Networker.
Okay, so you can come on my blab show. Here, I'll start typing links.
Yeah, that would be funny.
Blab.if,
Translator.
Right. Okay, so that's my blab channel.
Awesome.
That's really cool.
You can connect with me on Twitter, which is right on my thing there. I'm at Felicia Slattery everywhere, Facebook, Twitter. And then I talked about the challenge that I'm doing. It's a 30-day storytelling on video challenge. And whether somebody cares or not about that, if you want to learn more about story and using story and video online to market your business, we did a webinar. The replay is on that page right at the top. So, spoiler alert, it's a sales video, but it's like an hour long with all content leading up to the sales part. So, anyway, so there's a lot of, and there's actually, some people think, well, I don't have a story. I actually take people through a workshop in that replay of that webinar that helps them figure out 30 stories, your personal stories that you can tell to develop your business. So anyway, that's what I got going on. Hey, and then anybody who donates, I actually am going to change what my initial plan was, guys. Anybody who signs up for the challenge or donates $100 US or more, I will do a 30-minute private consult with. So just forward me just forward me your receipt to that.
Awesome.
So if you're watching this and you donate at any point, whatever, between now and tomorrow.
You can donate on the replay, guys.
You can donate on the replay. Just forward me. Find the link and forward me your thing. $100 US or more.
That's awesome. And I want to add one thing for you, Felicia. That is, a lot of people always ask, how do I become a copywriter? How do I write better sales copy? And in my experience, the way to do that is become one hell of a storyteller. Like,
you bet.
Get good at telling stories. Like, that's what people want. Like, it's not a mystery thing where you type some buttons or you use a swipe file or something like that. It's like, learn how to tell stories and practice at it. And you're going to be a much better salesperson than someone who's just, trying to sling stuff onto the world. Like, we were talking about, people are like, oh, what is that? You know,
Yep.
nobody wants it.
Exactly.
Felicia, I
That
know
is
your
such an
family.
awesome
You've been
offer.
a star. Thank you very much for all your help and educating a thick Irishman on Blab. That was very helpful. You know how to get people to host and do all this high-tech stuff that I couldn't figure out by myself. You know.
Well,
But I'm a man. I can only focus
I
on
just
one
had to
thing
show
at a
you
time.
which. I just had to tell you what button to push. You're all good now.
I have no more button to push on my wife for years. She doesn't talk to me anymore.
Oh.
Okay, I'm
Had
out.
to do it.
Goodbye,
See ya.
boys.
Bye. Felicia.
Bye,
Thanks.
Felicia.